Welcome back with me, Dr. Mellon, and Mostly True Psychiatry, where hopefully most of this is true. So we're working on the biopsychosocial. Last time we kind of went over the basic rigmarole of the format, the way that it flows, what it is. We're going to be talking about all the special sections you can do, or kind of concepts of special sections in biopsychosocial. Because remember from last video that when you're writing that section, you'll have like a birth to age, whenever they left the house, big life change, school, whatever. And eventually you'll have a current section of what's going on. But each patient might have some really significant other information that needs to be included. And you don't always necessarily want it to be like age, 20s, and just mixed in with that information, right? Because it could be hard to find. So you could just put like patient diagnosed with stage 3, brain cancer. It's not called that. Just like as an idea, and then you just put C below. So you don't want to necessarily have to mix it in there to where it's hard to find and read, because maybe I want to put medical history because they have a big important medical history. So you put diagnosed with cancer 2017 at age 30 or 23, started chemo, blah blah blah, things that are important, right? And then you have medical updates each visit, which often you'll do anyways, to be honest. You just want to check on it, but it could be like pain management 6/2023 with gabapentin increased from 300 milligrams TID to 600 milligrams TID. So that relevant change. And other ones you might be no change, right? No update. But that'd be an example of wanting to include the medical history for a patient. Social circles are real common for me, I'll put. So the idea of a social circle is you just ask the patient, can you tell me about the people you interact with in a given month? And they'll tell you who they interact with, and you ask them, and you kind of figure out, is it by phone, in person, that kind of thing when they're seeing them. And this is just the kind of general information gathering, but it's often useful. You might want to know, do they see anyone, right? Like, is this a problem with anxiety, or is this a problem with anhedonia, or is this a problem with social isolation, or what's going on? It could be that they have 5 kids and they see none of them. That's weird, right? Why don't they interact with them? And so that negative, it means something to you. And so I can, so I often just put social circle, the people they interact with on a regular basis in a given month. Personality characteristics. So you can be as psychological as you want and how you want to do things. I just put, I just put in like, I don't know, right there. I put personality characteristics, super vague, non-official, because I don't really value the way it's done often, but if you really are into a particular way that psychology does stuff, this is your place to put it, right? I just, I typically will just put stuff as it's relevant to me, or it's like metadata about the patient that I really want to include. So maybe it's just like, patient patient regularly seeks to be seen as not in control and victim of his circumstances. Or like patient is aggressive with MD when benzodiazepines are discussed, right? Or that kind of thing. You can go as psychological nerdy as you want in this, or as little as you want, but it's a good place to put stuff, because this is also where after a few interviews and talking with the person, I might get to the point where I'm going to put you as a bipolar or borderline personality disorder rather, and figure out which characteristics, they've met at the diagnosis, that kind of thing. And this is a way to get away from what most psychiatrists do, or they put like, they'll put in the assessment plan, patient has characteristics of axis 2 personality disorder. That's stupid. It's lazy, it's not helpful, it's basically this person's a jerk, I don't like interacting with them. It doesn't tell you anything. Um, Behaviors and discipline. So when I'm working with kids or parents of kids, I always do this really. Behavior, discipline. Um, I fight against the bad kid diagnosis, the I hate this kid, they're stupid, I wish I could drug them. It's the DMDD, conduct disorder kind of thing, IED. Um, it's not normal unless the kid has really got a reason to, like a weird brain damage thing, and now they're, they've lost their ability of some of their like frontal lobe, and they're just hyper labile and aggressive or sexual or something, right? I mean, something really weird. Other than that, you probably want to know what are the actions that actually happened and what do the parents do as a result, right? Real example, not they kind of do these things, they kind of do this, okay, and then you did that, and then what happened, right? You actually get a real story of what's going on. And then you can maybe help them. Maybe they have a kid with difficult, personality structure that doesn't mesh well with the adult, and the adult finds it frustrating, or they always think that the kid's being manipulative and intentional, and understanding that's how the parent's seeing it, and helping them know what it's like raising children. And just because one child turned out one way doesn't mean the next one will, or whatever. All right, that's too much of a side tangent. Education, are they in high school, college? They have 504 going on. They're Vanderbilt, if they're being followed for ADHD, that's a great place to put it. Again, these are all things you just write right above or below current, wherever you like it doesn't matter. And so you put like education, and you could put your Vanderbilt here and then write out the information on it, right? The teacher report and the self-report or parent report. I like doing mini biopsychosocial. So often on a patient, I will put, I type out mini biopsychosocial, and they'll be like, dad, mom, brother, older sister, younger sister, or whatever it is. Sorry, I'm going to leave typos. Dad, it could be like incarcerated since patient age 3, minimal contact since then, or whatever. Mom, multiple relationships during childhood, SUD, like maybe she had a problem with ETOH, often angry or short with patient as child, brother, substance, methamphetamine, stopped school age 16, older sister, graduated college, married, whatever. And you kind of get a general picture of the people that they're interacting with. Short statements, doesn't have to be full sentences, there's no reason it has to be. This is for you, and it's just to have a picture of the people going around them. But I'll often write a line or two on the person. Ongoing stressors, there can be lots of these, it's real life, right? So a lot of this stuff, if there's not a lot to say in any of this stuff, just put it in current. It doesn't need its own section. Stressors can be relationship, financial, transportation, legal, pain, anxiety, PTSD symptoms, depression, substance use disorder. All sorts of things. I will put in legal, substance use, addiction kind of issues. I'll put that as its own section, because if they've had a lot of problems with alcohol, their whole life, it really just that should be something that's a big part of their life forever with psychiatry, right? It's like, do you have a sponsor? Are you at AA or something, or NA, or are you regularly seeking counseling and making sure you're staying sober? How long have you been sober? Actually keeping that piece of information in there, not just like, oh, they've had substance use disorder, report last use February of this year. It's probably not even correct, and they're lying to you. So, but keep something, more detailed. You push them more. ADLs, activities, daily living, sometimes important. They've had back injuries, spinal injuries, trauma, physical pain that they can't move around well, brain damage, something that is causing them not to be able to eat, feed, dress, clothe, move around like normal. Somatic symptom disorders. If the patient's kind of complaining of, like, it might start as a medical section, and then I start putting, I might put something like somatic symptom concerns, and putting stuff to where eventually it becomes fibromyalgia, or it becomes something like IBS, currently constipated, that kind of thing. I'm going to spend just a couple seconds showing you one thing, and then I will end this section. So if you go to the biopsychosocial in here, there it says examples of biopsychosocial, and one of them is case examples. There's different things. And here's some actual families as setups. I'll try to spend 2 minutes giving you a flavor of one of them. I don't know. Let's do adopted trauma MDD. So I'll just read the first couple paragraphs and stop there. So I wrote parents equals adoptive parents because it was something that seemed relevant at that point. All the numbers and all these patients are changed. It's not the right age, might not be the right sex, wrong jobs, all that stuff. Anyways, so birth to 18, patient reports growing up in Tyler, Texas with parents, dad, I put it in brackets because this is the dad now, dad IT, mom, manager, and no siblings. Biological mother was age 16, so that'd be at birth, did not want her pregnancy, adopted in first week of life. Patient reports unconcerning birth history and neurodevelopmentally normal. See, this is an old one. I keep writing patient reports. I don't do that anymore. Patient reports no concern with her upbringing by parents and describes them as, quote, okay parents, bullied a lot in grade school, by middle school, had severe depression resulting in self-harm. Cutting was that action, bulimia, and suicide attempt, OD, given activated charcoal, something relevant about that, like did they go to the ICU, what happened. Bullying in high school led to legal charges towards other person, it's probably vague, it's the patient's point of view, I don't know what the other side is. Prescribed fluoxetine, so first time of medication use, but non-compliant. Graduated with honors. Age 18 to 20s, went to college for 3 years. Age 20, married. This person, quote, their information, manual labor, alcohol use disorder, and 2 children. She had one at age 19, preeclampsia, that's a big deal. Age 21, was the second child. Postpartum depression after first child, no psychosis. Given Proxetine, dose unknown, to 6 months. Husband physically and sexually abusive while intoxicated. Patient told parents, but not found helpful. Husband gone weeks at most, up to 5 months, and patient gained weight from 170 to 320 pounds. Patient got gastric sleeve at age 28, lowest weight 210, moved in with biological mother. And just kind of keeps going forwards like that. And you could do this in the first visit. It's not that hard. It's just unfamiliar. It's different, which is what takes practice. So hopefully that was helpful. You can read through this Dynalist thing that I built and read more. Write down, you can write questions, comments, other stuff if you want me to address it, and I can do that in a future video. All right, thank you. This has been Mostly True Psychiatry with Dr. Mellon.